Hadean and Archean eons. Artists' conception of Hadean eon Earth when it was much hotter and inhospitable to all forms of life. The first aeon in Earth's history in the Hadean begins with the Earth's formation and is followed by the Archean aeon at 3.8 ZA 2145. The oldest rocks found on Earth date to about 4.0 GA, and the oldest deuterium zircon crystals in rocks to about 4.4 GA 34, 35, 36. Soon after the formation of Earth crust and the itself giant impact hypothesis for the Moon's formation states that shortly after formation of an initial crust, the proto-Earth was impacted by a smaller protoplanet which injected part of the mantle and crust into space and created the Moon 37, 38, 39. From Carter counts on the other celestial bodies is inferred that a period of intense meteorite impacts called the Late Heavy Bombardment began about 4.1 GA and concluded around 3.8 GA at the end of the Hadrian 40. In addition, volcanism was served due to the large heat flow and geothermal gradients. 41. Nevertheless, the lethal zircon crystals date to 4.4 GA show evidence of having undergone contact with liquid water, suggesting that the Earth already had oceans or seas at that time. 34. By the beginning of the Archean, Earth had cooled scientifically. Present life forms could not have survived at Earth because the Archean atmosphere lacked ocean, hence had no ozone layer to block ultraviolet light. Nevertheless, it is believed that primordial life began to evolve by the early Archean with candidate fossils date to around 6.3 Gaia. 42. Some scientists have speculated that life could have gone during the early Hadean as far back as 4.4 GA, surviving the possible late heavy bombardment asteroid hydrothermal vents below the Earth's surface. 43. Formation of the Moon. First, continents. Oceans and atmosphere. Origin of life. Replication. First RNA word. Metabolism. First iron sulfur word. Brains. First liquid word. The clay theory. Last universal ancestor. Solar system formation. An artist rendering of the protoplanetary disk, the standard model for the formation of the solar system, including the Earth, is the solar nebula hypothesis. 23. In this model, the solar system formed from a large rotating cloud of interstellar dust and gas called the solar nebula. It was composed of hydrogen and helium, created shortly after the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago, and heavier elements existed by supernovae. About 4.5 the nebula began a contraction that may have been tried by the shock wave from a nearly supernova. 24. Shock wave would have also made the nebula rotate as the cloud began to accumulate its angular momentum, gravity, and inertia, flattened it into a protoplanetary disk perpendicular to its axis of rotation. Small perturbations due to collision and the angular momentum of other large debris created the means by which kilometer-sized protoplanets began to form, orbiting the nebular center. The center of the nebula, not having much angular momentum, collapsed rapidly. The compression hitting it until nuclear fusion of the hydrogen into the helium began after contraction. A TT Centauri star ignited and evolved into the sun. Meanwhile, in the outer part of the nebula, gravity caused matter to consolidate around density perturbation and dust particles. The rest of the protoplanetary disk began separating into rings in a process known as runaway accretion. Successively larger fragments and dust and debris clumped together to form planets. 25 Earth formed in this manner about 4.44 billion years ago, with an uncertainty of 1%, 26, 27, 24, 28, and was largely completed within 10 to 20 million years. The solar wind of the newly formed Centauri star, called outmost of the mantle in the disk that had not really considered into largest bodies. The same process is the expect to the product accretion disk around virtually all newly forming stars in the universe, some which yield planets. The proto-Earth grew by accretion until its interior was not enough to melt the heavy siderophile metals, having higher density than the silicates. These metals sank. The so-called iron catastrophe resulted in the separation of the primitive mantle and metallic core. Only 10 million years the Earth began to form, producing the layered structure of Earth and setting up the formation of Earth's magnetic field. J.A. Jacobs, 32, was a first to suggest that Earth's inner core, a solid center distinct from a liquid outer core, is freezing and growing out the liquid outer core to the gradual cooling Earth's interior about 100 degrees Celsius per billion years.